I'm Leo Kearse. I just got off the megabus in London. I can't believe it. GB News have given me my own show. We're going to have the funniest stories, the funniest guests. Get ready for the Saturday Night Showdown. Hi there, coming up in the Saturday Night Showdown. Irish Taoiseach Leo Varadkar has told us that complaining about people being stabbed makes you far right. Apparently, Nella Rose got angry at Nigel Farage, but he decided it would be smart to turn the other cheek. She also got angry at the waiter from First Dates, which is the first time she's got angry at a waiter for something other than bringing her small portions. Marvel's new movie flopped. Maybe doing the same thing 800 times in a row wasn't such a great plan after all. And discussing this and much more, my brilliant panel, Diane Spencer, Nichi Hodgson and Andrew Eborn. And let's get your latest news headlines first from Aaron.
A very good evening to you. It's 8 o'clock. I'm Aaron Armstrong in the GB newsroom. The delay to the second release of hostages held by Hamas may have been resolved following intervention by Egypt and Qatar. That is according to the Reuters news agency. Earlier, Hamas halted proceedings after accusing Israel of violating the terms of their truce agreement by not allowing aid trucks to enter northern Gaza. Hamas is expected to transfer 13 Israeli hostages to the Red Cross later. It's expected to take place at the Rafah border crossing with Egypt. Several foreign nationals being held captive may also be released. Well, if the exchange goes ahead, Israel has also agreed to release 39 Palestinians from this prison in the West Bank. It comes on day 2 of a 4-day pause in fighting. Meanwhile, a 4-year-old girl released yesterday after being held captive by Hamas has told her father she dreamed of coming home. Raz Asher, her 2-year-old sister Aviv and her mother Doron were released and reunited with Yoni Asher on Friday. It was the first stage of the Israel-Hamas hostage deal. 24 people were freed. A number were taken to Schneider Children's Hospital, where authorities say they have been responding well to medical treatment. Police have arrested 2 people on suspicion of supporting a prescribed terrorist organisation. The arrest took place as tens of thousands of people marched through central London in a pro-Palestinian rally calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. They say one suspect, police that is, was seen in Trafalgar Square wearing a green headband with white Arabic script on it. He had several more in his possession. And another protester earlier was arrested on suspicion of inciting racial hatred. He was seen carrying a placard with Nazi symbols on it. The former police officer convicted of murdering George Floyd has been stabbed at a prison in Arizona, according to reports in the United States. It's understood Derek Chauvin survived the attack by another inmate on Friday, but has been seriously injured. It comes days after the Supreme Court rejected his appeal. The 47-year-old argued he hadn't received a fair trial. Mr. Chauvin is currently serving multiple sentences for George Floyd's death in 2020, which led to widespread protests against police brutality and racism. And it could well be the coldest night of the year, certainly the coldest of the autumn season later, with sub-zero temperatures across large parts of the country. And many areas experienced their first frost of the year last night. Temperatures were well below freezing in places. Across northwestern England and in the south, temperatures could dip later to -7 and -4 in parts of rural Wales. The Met Office says it could be expected to snow next week. Well, this is GB News. We're on TV, on digital radio and on your smart speaker too. That's it from me for the moment. Now it's over to Leo.
Thanks, Aaron, and welcome back to the Saturday Night Showdown. Well, this was the week that Bristol Airport revealed this glorious multi-faith area. I can't help but feel that Britain doesn't put quite as much effort into its places of worship as it used to. I mean, it's not exactly Durham Cathedral, is it? Although at Durham Cathedral, you can combine prayer with waiting for a bus. But yeah, come and kneel in cold concrete in a puddle of urine with cigarette butts floating in it and pray for dry trousers. I mean, at least when people land at Bristol Airport, they'll immediately see the most British thing in the whole of Britain. I think they just didn't know what to do with the smoking area now that smoking's banned, so they changed the sticker on it. And look at that sticker. With that picture, if it doesn't work out as a prayer zone, it can easily be repurposed using the same badge as a glory hole. Meanwhile, the Taliban have revealed a rollerblading division. Yeah, that's right, a rollerblading division. Here they are on the streets of Kabul. The Taliban clearly have no word for irony. They execute people for homosexuality, then strap on their rollerblades and wiggle their little sexy tushes in rollerblades in a very homoerotic manner. It's like the Cliff Richard wired for sound video if he was wired for a suicide bomb. It's not the Starlight Express, it's the Inshallah Light Express. It's Torval and Kareem dancing on ISIS. Yeah, I've got millions of these. He was a skater boy. She said, please don't stone me to death for wearing my hijab incorrectly. But please don't worry, we could never get rollerblading Islamic morality police here because our roads are too bad. How does Kabul have better roads than Glasgow? I don't understand. Listen, if an Islamic caliphate is the only way to get our potholes fixed, I'm all for it. There were riots in Dublin this week, sadly, after an Algerian man stabbed children in an absolutely tragic incident. Although you wouldn't know that an Algerian man has stabbed children looking at the mainstream media. The BBC said it's not clear what caused the unrest. According to them, people spontaneously started rioting and looting. The mainstream media have criticised the rioters as far-right, anti-immigrant racists. Well, let's have a look at these far-right thugs. Here he comes here. Can I just say how wonderful it is that the anti-immigrant racist community is now so diverse? That is a real sign of progress. The Irish government sprang into action to toughen hate crime laws to clamp down on criticism of children being stabbed. The message from the establishment is that being opposed to children being stabbed is far right. I'm not sure that this is going to put people off being far right. The department store Target came under fire for sexualising Christmas. They have a gay Santa with the pride flag. Well, we don't know if that Santa is gay. He might just be waving the flag. There's also this disabled black Santa. I'm not quite sure how he gets down the chimney. And there's a trans nutcracker. I mean, I suppose the great thing about a trans nutcracker is that they can do their own transition surgery. Ouch. But why do Christians get all the fun, Target? Where's the range of LGBTQIA2SL++ Ramadan ornaments? Why are you discriminating against Muslims? Maybe next year you could make a gingerbread rooftop to throw the gay Santas off. I don't know. Anyway, sexualising Christmas, I think you'll find Cliff Richard got there first. Take it away, Cliff. Look at those moves. Look at that jaunty leg flick. Yeah, I'm going to crowbar a Cliff Richard reference into everything tonight. And that's been the curse word. And I'm joined tonight by the journalist and broadcaster Nichi Hodgson, the comedian Diane Spencer, and the broadcaster and lawyer Andrew Eborn. Well, let's discuss the riots in Dublin and start by looking at a quote from Irish Taoiseach, that's the sort of Prime Minister, Leo Varadkar. He said, these criminals did not do what they did because they love Ireland. They did not do what they did because they wanted to protect Irish people. They did not do it out of any sense of patriotism, however warped. They did so because they're filled with hate. They love violence, they love chaos, and they love causing pain to others. Nichi, is Varadkar right? Are these protesters motivated by hate?
They're motivated by something negative, and I think that's probably want, not hate.
Right.
I mean, I get the vibe that these are people that are discontent with the government that they have. They feel that maybe they're not having enough access to education, that, you know, prices are too high, cost of living is driving them out of their homes, and they're annoyed because they're just annoyed. And this has become the litmus paper for their anger.
You really think that if lemons were 10 pence cheaper in Lidl, then these people wouldn't have rioted?
Yeah.
You don't think it's about the immigration policy at all? I mean, Diane, we've seen the Irish government, as you know, a lot of governments do across the West, pretty much ignore people's wishes on immigration and just have radical open borders policy. I mean, we've seen gross migration of 1.2 million people entering the UK to the year June 2023. Just in 1 year, 1.2 million people. But the equivalent in Ireland, with its population, they've had 2 million people. If it had the same, equivalent size as the UK. I mean, do you think people are just, they want to be listened to and maybe have more sensible immigration policies?
I think that they do want to be listened to. They do want to have more sensible immigration policies. And when the looting starts, they do want new trainers. We must not forget that 'tis the season to be jolly and going shopping. And so when you do have the opportunity to potentially smash the window of JD Sports and get Christmas presents for the entire family, you do sort of leap on that. What was interesting was I read an article where somebody who was ever so high up in the Irish Parliament, I'm terribly sorry, I can't remember the reference, said that this feeling had been building for months.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could look at that two ways. You could say, OK, so there is a sentiment there where as soon as this happened, people went, oh, my God, I can't believe somebody's attacked, let's underline this, a school with little children who are currently in hospital. So we must not forget what has triggered this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's enough to send anybody
And it comes
into a fury.
It comes on the back of murders of gay men in Sligo that were targeted by an Islamist, because they're gay. So we're seeing, these ideologically driven knife attacks across Europe. And one thing that worries me, Andrew, and you're as a lawyer, you'll be able to give some insight into this, is that Leo Varadkar, the Irish Taoiseach or Prime Minister, he came out and he said we're going to rush through hate crime laws, and then he sounded like he was going to apply it retroactively to the CCTV footage, which is, I mean, that's unconstitutional. That's against the Irish Constitution.
Some of the existing laws are good enough. And what tends to happen, I've really dug into the story trying to get it, because the first casualty in any war is the truth.
Yeah.
And looking at this sort of stuff, what's happened is they've been radicalised by social media is what's happened. And they look at this, and actually the reality, the rumour started that it was an illegal immigrant who basically went round shooting these poor children in that terrible situation. The reality, it appears to have been an Irish citizen who's been an Irish citizen for 20 years. Now, the media not yet reporting that, and so we need to look at that. But totally, what my new best friend, because she makes wonderful fudge, it's true. I love that. We've been having fudge porn all day. It's glorious. What I love about the point is, if the real objection is about the shooting and all that sort of stuff, you don't go looting, do you? That's not your first point of call.
Absolutely. You protest in a civilised manner. You say, we're against what just happened, or we've got a problem with immigration. You don't just go nicking stuff. You don't just go nicking stuff.
Nikki, come on. During Black Lives Matter riots, you think nobody was nicking some new Nikes then?
Yeah, but it didn't start out with them nicking stuff, did it?
I think it.
This was
Black Lives Matter riots, there was just wanton destruction on a large scale.
It didn't start out as somebody's been murdered and therefore we're going to go nick stuff.
Neither did this. There have been protests for weeks, for months outside.
But this was directly. This is the excuse that's being used for people to say, I'm annoyed. I don't like how we're living. I don't like this government. Yeah. Something else that's really important about this story, and it was only reported in one paper, is that the man who attacked the children is apparently. He has psychosis, right. And that's the line of thought that the police are pursuing, and that's really important because have you been psychotic? Because I have actually. Oh, really? I've had a psychotic breakdown. I'm writing about it. You don't need knives to be psychotic. Right. You just need to be absolutely bonkers.
A bit safer if you don't have knives.
Yeah, probably a bit safer. But what I'm trying to say is, if you are psychotic, you will plan to do things that make no logical sense to anybody else, but to you in your crazed chemical state, because it's not induced by chemicals, it's your brain on fire basically. Yeah. You would do something totally insane like this. So I think it's important that we establish, has the attacker actually got a really serious mental health thing going on? Wow. Or are they just kind of vindictive?
Or have they been radicalised online?
Well, I think there's two things. Radicalised online is the backlash to what's happened. What they're saying, and everybody's saying
who's radicalised online? The stabber or the rioter?
By the sounds of it. But also the individual concern, they do say it's not part of an organised terrorist or anything like that. It's an individual, and Nikki makes a brilliant point, because mental illness, no joking aside, there are people with serious issues, we need to look at that sort of stuff. stuff.
Absolutely.
But the reaction is what they're talking about, the radicalisation. So the reaction to what happened, this terrible thing, what's now the focus is all about the people who are rioting or the person who did it, as opposed to the real victims who are, what is it? It's like a 5-year-old girl is in a critical condition in hospital, female care assistant in her 30s is in a serious condition, and the girl 6 remains in hospital, but the boy 5 has just been discharged. The focus should be on the victims, and let's look at that.
But the rioters should think about that, shouldn't they? The rioters shouldn't go out rioting, putting the focus on them when they report innocent people in hospital.
But the establishment hasn't reported on the establishment has barely mentioned the actual victims. They're almost tiptoeing around the fact.
But isn't that more about giving people a bit of peace and quiet when they're in hospital?
Yeah, but when I heard that this happened, I looked it up on... first of all, I went to the BBC website, and that was a mistake, because I couldn't work out why there were riots.
Yeah.
They didn't actually outline it, and I thought, OK, so I'm looking at this article thinking, oh, my gosh, these people have been attacked, and there are riots, and I couldn't... There was no connection within the article. So that is something that... like what the trusted Verify media managed to omit.
But it's a great example of what you have to do now, because we're drowning in a sea of information, most of which is false. So you have to get your news from a number of different sources.
Like GB News.
Like GB News.
Obviously.
From Leo's show here tonight, we'll give you the facts. It's got to be.
And I just think the establishment would have been shouting about it a lot more if it had been a right-wing person who'd committed the attack. Anyway, still to come on the Saturday Night Showdown, we'll ask why the new Marvel's movie flopped, and we'll get in the Christmas spirit by meeting a real-life elf. But next, in Kearse Blessed, we'll discuss some of the week's heroes and villains, including Nigel Farage and his buttocks. Since he started appearing on I'm a Celebrity, the impact he has been having on people's lives up and down the country has been simply extraordinary. Excuse me, the best-dressed people in Paddington, can I just ask you, have you been watching Nigel Farage on I'm a Celebrity?
I don't even know who he is, mate.
I'm Leo Kearse, and this is your Saturday Night Showdown. It's time for Kearse Blessed. Me and my brilliant panel will look at 3 big names in the news this weekend, and we'll tell you whether they are heading for the glorious sunlit uplands of heaven or the dark, dank and miserable pits of hell, or maybe somewhere less dramatic like Milton Keynes. And let's start with Argentina's eccentric new president, Javier Milei. He's a tantric sex guru who gets political advice from his dogs, including one that passed away in 2017. It's easy to laugh, but the dogs have already come up with more sensible policies than the Tories have managed in 13 years. And Rishi Sunak was spotted out shopping for a doggy Ouija board earlier today. So, Andrew, Javier Milei has been smeared as far right, but really, he's a libertarian. Is he the hero Argentina needs right now?
Don't cry for me, Argentina. What I love are the extreme views. He's had everything from abortion to gay rights and more. Tax is theft, he said. Social justice is an aberration, and public health, public education and social welfare need to be abolished, is what he said. And he also said the climate crisis is a socialist lie. So he's a moderate man.
It makes Hitler look moderate, definitely, yeah.
It's got to be. What I also love about these wonderful politicians now is their glorious hair. Because in order to get ahead, you've got to have a head of wild hair.
Yeah.
And we'll see. It's true, isn't it?
Tony Blair with the hair.
Tony Blair with the hair.
Michael Fabricant.
Michael Fabricant. But is it hair?
Sort of stuff.
I mean...
We also look, as we're going to come on in with our little friends in Amsterdam as well. They all look brilliant.
Yeah.
Suella Braverman could go for like Cruella de Vil.
Suella de Vil.
Like one of those. Yes, she could have like the Suella, like the swirl of white in the dark hair.
Absolutely.
And then she would.
That's the secret to success in the current climate. I think politically, if you want to get ahead of shocking hair. That's what you've got to do.
Javier Milei has promised to slash the state in Argentina, much needed after decades of socialism. We've got a clip of him here saying how he's going to slash the state, all the departments he's going to get rid of.
Tipo y deporte, afuera. Ministerio de Cultura, afuera. Ministerio de Ambiente y Desarrollo Sostenible, afuera. Ministerio de las Mujeres y Género y Diversidad, afuera. Ministerio de Obras Públicas, afuera.
I mean, Nikki, you must appreciate that. I mean, even if you're not,
I appreciate the comedy value of the absolutely do.
But we don't need a minister of culture and all these nonsensical quangs.
No, we don't care about museums, galleries, arts, books, none of that.
Listen, if people want museums, they can go to museums and pay for museums themselves.
Well, they can just look history. The history, socialist history of Argentina is soon going to be a museum, isn't it? Some weird lefty woke museum where people go to remember that they used to have rights. Oh my God!
Rights? What are you talking? He's giving people more rights. I mean, understand.
Which people? Definitely not women. When he's saying they're not allowed abortions anymore.
No, that was a. I'm pretty.
Oh no, we'll put that to the side. We don't worry about that one.
He's even letting people sell their organs. He's a very liberal guy.
Okay, liberal.
So,
yes.
but I mean, socialism has destroyed Argentina, and you say about people's rights. What about the right to own a business and operate freely without being taxed at 120%?
Yeah, but I think sort of ignoring the fact that there was a dictatorship that did murder many of its population. I think sort of sweeping that under the rug and saying, no, they were heroes of a different time. I think that's a bit much, don't you?
I think you're focusing on his negative attributes.
Rather than his hair, because his hair is what they voted for, obviously.
He might just mean
chops on the side.
It's glorious. I love it.
There's more to politics than haircuts.
What?
That is all.
Well, we're shocked because we didn't realise that, did we?
It looks like we could actually form a South American government right here.
We do that. Absolutely, I love it. We'll take over.
But yeah, I mean, Peronism has destroyed Argentina, and also the IMF gave Argentina a $44 billion loan that they've now got to pay back under Javier Milei. Even though, why would you lend socialists money? They're only going to spaff it up the wall. Do you think the IMF should wipe
Well,
that
like the Tories. The Tories are pretty good at spaffing money up the wall, and we don't say that,
Yeah, they gradually pay the debts back.
Do they?
No.
No. They've got us into more debt.
We haven't defaulted on our sovereign debt yet.
Yeah. I mean, only because we've
And if that's
to dig lower, that's why.
Anyway, moving on now to another surprise election result. The Freedom Party, led by the right-wing Geert Wilders, are set to become by far the biggest party in the Dutch parliament. Wilders has been dubbed the Dutch Trump, so the poor citizens of the Netherlands can look forward to hush-money rows, multiple arrests and an attack on their government buildings led by some bloke wearing horns, probably a Viking, to be honest. Nikki, is Geert Wilders cursed or blessed?
Well, blessed by his standards. He's been waiting for this a long time. And, in fact, he actually looks quite shocked that he's actually in power. And sort of, there was a glorious picture of him on the front of the Telegraph going, like this, like, oh my God, now I have to make laws and tell people what to do.
Yeah.
Some of the policies are just hilarious to me. What's that thing about bringing back that racist black figure in
Black
Dutch?
Pete.
Black Pete. That everybody is so glad that they've got rid of. There's a few people that've got a secret one in the attic, and that'll be worth a bit more because he's bringing it back.
Predate? I mean, that's authentic Dutch culture. That predates.
Well, it is, but how many modern Dutch people want it to come back? Probably nobody.
But I think that's a pretty small issue compared to the rest of what he's platform.
I think the hair and Black Pete are going to be the big issues of the day. That's all you're going to see on the tabloids in the Netherlands for the next 6 months.
Andrew, I'm worried that people are already talking. Even though Geert Wilders, he won 37 of the 150 seats, way ahead of the next party, which won I think 24. And already the other parties are talking about creating this cordon sanitaire so that Geert can't actually take power and can't be prime minister or play any role in the government. I mean, isn't that anti-democratic?
Well, I think the reality is that people at the moment are looking for a hero, and people who promise we're going to get rid of all these jolly foreigners and we're going to do this and sort your life out are the ones they're voting for. So the real issue is exactly that. And I like to research these things. Firstly, his name is Geert. So it is how you pronounce it. It's that new strain of COVID that you get. But that's how you pronounce it.
This is a man who says croissant.
I do say croissant, but I got white on, as you say. It's always something good. But that's the reality. So the worrying thing is, why are these people getting voted in?
Yeah.
And the reason they're getting voted in is because we live in a terrible age at the moment, where you're turning around, where it's a question of heating or eating.
Yeah.
So who do you blame? You blame all these foreigners.
Well,
even though they were probably born there as well as you were.
No,
that's the reality.
I don't think the issue in the Netherlands is all to do with immigration. I mean, it's to do with cultural issues. They've seen a lot of Islamic immigration, and a lot of people are worried about that changing the Dutch liberal values in their culture. And in fact, Geert Wilders, what's surprising about this election result was he got a lot of support from the liberal areas, as well as out in the sticks where you might think people would be a bit more
pitchforky.
Yes, but he's promising proposing to do things like shut down mosques. If you're a woman wearing a hijab, you've got to take it off before you go to a government building. You can imagine there'll be like these nice hair salons popping up around important places because you need to sort your hair out, you've got to take your scarf off. Yeah, maybe it is, but I mean, I've never heard so much rubbish in my life.
But also, he was banned from entering the UK, remember, in 2009.
Yes. And that gave him infamy.
No, he said the Quran was going to call it a fascist book.
Yes, he says it's like Mein Kampf.
All of these things, he gets a certain narrative, and they always say, if you want to draw a crowd, start a fight. Well, you're working on that sort of basis. So this is what they're doing. They're looking for the heart and the soul of how you get these people voting for you, and that's what is turning around and happening.
OK. Well, I think you're being too critical. Anyway, our final is Nigel Farage's backside.
Hey.
People have been saying for a while that I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here has reached the bottom of the barrel. And I think this has exposed the deep crack in the franchise. When he originally heard about the offer, Nigel said he would give the producers a ring. So I guess it's mission accomplished. Can he win Rear of the Year, though? Let's see what the great British public think. You've been watching I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here.
Hello? What?
Sorry, have you been watching I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here?
No, not yet.
You know Nigel Farage is on there?
I've seen his bum, but I haven't watched
You've seen his bum? Could you rate his bum out of 10?
I'd say a 2.
2? And you know he's exposed his buttocks, apparently. I mean, not deliberately, but somebody's seen his buttocks.
I have not had such honour. No, I didn't see that either.
It's a TV show called I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here.
My name? I'm from Ukraine. What?
Oh, you're from Ukraine. Welcome to the UK. Did you see his buttocks?
Yeah.
Yeah. How would you rate them out of 10?
Yeah. 8.
You see the buttocks yourself?
I did. It was a sight for sore eyes.
So you enjoyed that?
No.
Oh, you didn't. You didn't enjoy that. How would you rate the buttocks out of 10?
Not the best I've ever seen. I'll put it that way.
Right.
I much prefer. Who's the French guy?
I'm not
I'd
sure.
rather him.
Excuse me, the best dressed people in Paddington. Can I just ask you, have you been watching Nigel Farage on I'm a Celebrity?
I don't even know who he is, mate.
But we're wondering, would you think he'd be a good candidate for Rear of the Year this year?
I have to see it first.
So would you mark him out of 10 once you've seen the picture?
I will not do such thing, no.
But he's on this TV show, and one of the contestants sees his buttocks in the shower.
No, thank you. I don't.
A mixed reaction from the public then, but what do my panel think? Andrew, would you bear all for a few quid?
I'll do anything for a few quid, me. And a bit of fudge, I love it. You're lucky. You're lucky, as they said on...
fudge.
Yeah, thank you. You're lucky, as they said on social media, that it didn't turn around. Otherwise, you would have seen the honourable member. It was actually a decline in the programme. What I love is that Josie Gibson, who's one of the things, she won a celebrity thing beforehand. She was sort of saying, fair play to him. He just gets on there, and at least he's clean.
Unlike some people. Who's she talking about?
They were the jungle together, absolutely. It was a thrill.
I think what we've realised here is that Nigel has missed an opportunity to have a tattoo on his buttocks.
Ooh.
Can you imagine the furore that we would have had? Never mind him just revealing it. They've got, oh my God, Nigel Farage has got a tattoo.
He could have had the GB News logo on there, couldn't he?
He should have the GB News logo.
Yes.
I think we could do that, absolutely. But you should also, he could have sponsored all sorts of things. We could maybe get a sponsorship for Nigel's buttocks. I reckon if we worked in commission, this would be brilliant. So not only that, his OnlyFans page, forget the 1.5 million.
Has anybody set that up yet? Anybody out there? I wonder who gets there first. Somebody has set it up for him, surely.
Oh,
I mean, the one clip.
Apart from Lorraine, who didn't quite like it. Did you read that in the
she
paper?
means his face. She said his face is... he's got the face he deserves or something like that.
The face he deserves.
Wrinkly face.
Well, both of them. You can't say that. No, but you could. But interesting, put that the other way round. If a male had criticised a female in the current climate, how much outrage would that have been?
That would have been it.
But then there'd have been a guest on GB News, so it'd have been fine.
Welcome on this guest on the Leo Kearse show. It's got to be good.
You notice, whenever somebody comments on a woman's body now, like if it's like Lizzo, she's always got to be stunning or beautiful. So I'd be terrified.
She's tiny,
I'd be terrified if people said I had a fantastic bottom, because I'd assume it wouldn't be able to fit down an aircraft aisle.
It is an interesting thing. But all this thing about fat shaming and so on and so forth. People should, it should work. If you're going to be blind to everything is what you've got to try and do. The way you get equality is to turn around and not make an issue for one group of people. So I do think it was wrong of Lorraine. She's brilliant on other things. It was wrong for her to fat shame him, whatever she age shame him. It just doesn't make sense. Nigel, I think, to his credit, he's getting a lot of airtime and he's very wise to this. He knows you get 25. He did his research, and I can tell you the stats. He got 25% more airtime if you do a challenge than you would do if you didn't, and you're more likely to increase your value to the viewers than if you don't.
And what if you take your trousers off?
Well, it's an impressive...
Absolutely.
Let's not start planning his post-jungle porn career. That's an impressive effort from Nigel then. But could any previous I'm a Celebrity contestants rival him for Rear of the Year? How about David Hay? You'd expect a former heavyweight boxing champion to be well-proportioned. Looks like he's been getting in his squats, Nikki.
Yeah, you could call it that.
Do you prefer that to Nigel Farage's?
No, because I like to see the back of Nigel Farage. So it's perfect.
Or do we have any other contenders for Rear of the Year? How about Italian stallion Gino De Campo? He's cooked up something pretty spicy here, Diane. There he is. Look at that. I mean, I know it's far away.
Diane's squinting at the screen. She needs a magnifying glass.
Just imagine a bottle.
Oh, lovely. Well done, Gino. I mean, to be fair, the one person who really played the angles in the jungle was Katie Price.
Right.
And she knew what she was doing. And even she was muttering it under her breath. And I loved her for that, because I loved how she'd emerge out of the pond, and she knew she had, like, her boobs at sort of the right angle, and then she'd go, well, that'll be on the front page. And, like, she was ticking it off in her mind.
5,000. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so some buttocks we'd like to see. And let's see what you viewers make of all this. 76.7% of you say yes to should Nigel Farage win the Rear of the Year, whilst 23.3% of you say no. So that's a very convincing victory, just like Javier Milei's. Anyway, still to come on the Saturday Night Showdown, I get to meet a real-life elf. Are they ready for Christmas? How is Santa feeling? Do they like the John Lewis ad? But next, in Culture Corner, we'll be asking why Marvel's latest release has been apparently their biggest flop of all time. It's the issue which has got the nation talking. Have you got any plans to see the Marvels film that's come out this week?
Actually, no.
Have you heard about it?
No, I haven't. No.
Are you Marvels fans?
Don't even know what it is.
I'm Leo Kearse, and this is your Saturday Night Showdown, and it's time for Culture Corner. Me and my brilliant panel are going to tell you what's been happening in the entertainment world. Where else would we start but with what is being dubbed the biggest flop in Marvel's history? Imaginatively titled The Marvels, it took 38 million quid on its opening weekend. I mean, that sounds okay, but it cost 176 million quid to make, plus like another 150 for marketing costs. You end up with a balance sheet that looks like something Liz Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng might have come up with. Let's take a look.
She's targeting every planet we call home. I would never choose to bring anybody into this.
You are not the only thing standing between this and the universe.
And people are complaining online that this film is just another example of crowbarring in diversity without working on a good story. Is this why it flopped? I ventured out earlier to see if the public had any answers. Have you got any plans to see the Marvels film that's come out this week?
Actually, no.
Have you heard about it?
No, I haven't. No.
Are you Marvels fans?
Don't even know what it is.
But do you know why the Marvels, in particular this one, has had such a bad box office response?
No idea, because it's crap.
Can I ask your dog a few questions? Are you going to see the Marvels? Are you going to see the Marvels? Maybe it's not popular in the dog world. Are you going to go and see the Marvels at the cinema?
Oh, next year's ones.
It's out now.
Oh, there's one out now? Oh, crap. I'll definitely go and see it. I didn't realise. This is me waiting for 2024. Oh, crap. I'm not in the know.
Why do you think the Marvels is doing so poorly? It's been their biggest box office flop in history.
Oh! Bad marketing, probably.
Bad marketing.
And people don't like Brie Larson, so that's probably why.
People don't like Brie Larson. Oh my God, why?
Yo, why, boys?
Why not?
Why? Generally, people have not had positive sentiments about her.
Are you planning on seeing the Marvels film?
No.
No. That's a very emphatic no. Why is that?
I don't like action films
right.
or superheroes.
I know it's like quite bad.
Oh really? What is it?
I know. Apparently, a lot of people say the movie's not very good.
A lot of people are saying the movie's not good.
Yeah.
But you still want to see it.
I don't mind.
Right? You don't mind bad movies.
It's Marvel.
Well, the public have spoken, but what say my panel, who I'd like to point out are also diverse. We've got 50% women. It's just so we can get an Arts Council grant. Diane, I think you've got an opinion on this. You mentioned Brie Larson is unpopular.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why this film really failed, because number one, the Marvel franchise has been getting worse and worse and worse because they are literally just churning out so much content and they're racing through it, and the special effects have got worse.
Oh, really?
They really have. If you watch She-Hulk, it looks like she's just covered in green cotton wool. It's just absolutely bizarre. It doesn't look good.
Yeah.
So for a start, the quality's going, and they're churning them out so much that the story writing seems to be left on the floor. Number two is that there's this thing called the MCU universe, where because they have made a decision to make 50% of superheroes women, which I understand and I get,
but
because
that's like trying to make truck drivers women.
Yeah, but wait a minute, right? The problem is they're not writing likeable superheroes.
Yeah.
They're sort of Captain Marvel herself is deeply unlikable because she has no flaws whatsoever. Get behind this woman.
But that's feminism, isn't it?
No, it isn't. No, it's the opposite.
You go, girl.
But no. Feminism's not that. Feminism's like everything's crap and I'm crap and that's fine.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, but we're still going to do stuff.
But we're still going to do stuff, exactly.
Right, that's what feminism is.
No.
We know you've been waiting for that definition.
But another issue is that the film itself, it combines Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, and a character from WandaVision. And it's just like, I haven't got the time
so there's no
to watch all those strands and then put it together.
All these different strands. So the characters themselves haven't been built up, so nobody really cares about the characters.
Yeah.
So you've got massive flaws in the film itself. The baddie, you know how, like, we all loved Alan Rickman. I know it's a bit of a throwback, but Alan Rickman, whenever he's been a baddie, he has been sensational because he was the baddie, Sheriff of Nottingham, he was the baddie in Die Hard, just brilliant. But this baddie, completely unforgettable. No personality, really. Nobody really knows what she's doing. And Brie Larson herself, she's like the main character, Captain Marvel, who can just do everything anyway, which is so dull.
So boring.
Yeah.
If you meet that woman, you don't want to know her, do you?
Oh, no. You'd be like, oh no, here she comes. Miss Perfect.
So Marvel Studios are trying to make it super inclusive for women, but they're actually alienating women by making an unlikable character. Andrew, are you going to go and see this film?
I've seen it.
You've seen it?
I will only comment on things.
Andrew does his research.
I see everything. And the whole way that Marvel has evolved is basically in the same way as Barbie, we'll talk about that in a bit, and Mattel, because it's interesting. What happens is they're trying to appeal to all sorts of people. What they should do is basically, they want to be inspirational to the little girls who haven't seen superheroes. They're not going to want to be Hulks, they're not going to want to be Superman, they could be Superwoman and so on and so forth. So what you need to do is to have heroes which are likeable.
Yes.
So they should consult the group they're trying to appeal to on that sort of basis. But it's wrong to say go woke, go broke on this particular one, because you see Barbie, which is the pink gloriousness, is what, 1.44 billion at the end of October, if you have a look at the highest grossing thing.
The story. You've got to make it a good story as well.
Yes.
Well, I think it's ridiculous to try and angle things at people. I always wanted to be Wonder Woman when I was a kid. And anyway, if you want to see something a lot more entertaining than the Marvels movie and a lot shorter into the bargain, check out this video of someone farting into his neighbour's security camera.
That's the second contender for Rear of the Year, is it?
For the benefit of radio viewers, that was someone farting. It sounded like the tune to Frere Jacques.
It was rather good.
Into his neighbour's security camera, and then standing on a rake like Sideshow Bob and falling over in embarrassing fashion. And unlike the Marvels, it only cost $140 million to make. That wasn't you in the video, by the way, was it, Andrew?
Well, I now that you ask, it was my Rear of the Year, and it's the best way I speak, actually. It's the most sensible thing I've said forever. The reality is these things are everywhere, and people like to show off, don't they, with these cameras? So it's not surprising. You'll get lots of these, and I'll tell you what, if we do this as a little feature and a regular thing, we could have The Crack with Leo, and you can turn round. We can get these videos sent to you every single time. I think stuff on security cameras. We are filmed more than any other country virtually in the world.
So every fart is captured. Anyway, don't forget the brilliant Mark Dolan is coming up tonight at 9 p.m. But before all that, I'm going to be speaking to a Christmas elf. We're just getting more and more highbrow. See you in a couple of minutes. I'm Leo Kearse, and this is your Saturday Night Showdown. It's that wonderful time of the year when Christmas lights are being turned on up and down the land. I mean, unless your council has gone bust and can't afford any. No such problems in Weymouth, though, which for the third year in a row has been hosting the Southwest's largest elf street party. And we're now joined by a real live elf. Good evening. Welcome to the programme.
Hello.
An elf street party sounds like a lot of fun. Can you tell us what has been happening in Weymouth today?
Yeah, so obviously today has been our Christmas light switch on. So we've had an elf street parade, which included elf walkers, elf performers, elves from near and far, young and old, all walking through the town. And then we've had live performances, live music, the light switch on, the Panto crew from Weymouth Pavilion coming over and doing some performances for us, and then we rounded it all up with a local band, Lego Men, playing some Christmas hits for us. So yeah, it's been really fun.
And Pippa, can I ask you, what exactly is an elf?
What exactly is an elf? Well, in Weymouth, an elf, you need to have a hat. If possible, you need to have elf ears. And then you need to wear a red or a green top and then black or stripy trousers. I mean, some of the elves have gone all out. They've got the shoes with the bells on. They've got hats with bells on. So, yeah, we're all for it down here.
Amazing. And it's almost 9 p.m. Are a few of the elves a bit the worse for wear by now?
Yes, we've definitely got some elf parties going on in the town. So we've got lots of bars, clubs and pubs that are hosting elves. Although this was a family-friendly show, so the younger elves are definitely tucked up in bed now.
Right, well, with all that boozing, I hope none of you need the National Elf Service by 3 a.m. I'm sorry, Pippa. And Pippa, we always think of elves as male, but it looks like that's out of the window. Are female elves now all the rage?
Well, you know, I feel like there have always been male and female elves in Santa's workshop, but definitely today there was a good mix of boy elves, girl elves, old elves, young elves. So yeah, a lot of diversity in the world of elves these days.
Brilliant. It's great to hear that elves are staying with the times. Pippa, thanks so much for joining us, and really enjoy your elf parade in Weymouth. And let's finish with some festive fun. Nikki, are you getting in the Christmas spirit already, or are we peaking too early?
Oh, I get sorted in September. I've already got all my Christmas cards. I'm so organised because it's the only thing I'm organised at because I enjoy it so much. My mum arrived from Australia yesterday. She's here for a month. Hi, Mum. And yeah, I can't even calm down because I get so excited about Christmas.
Don't calm down. Never calm down.
Very, very excited.
My dad's made his spreadsheet, and
yes, I've got a spreadsheet.
Yes, you've got a spreadsheet.
I've got a Christmas spreadsheet. Yes, you need it.
What you're cooking?
Absolutely.
And we're doing this year. We're doing a family mince pie test. So we are constantly going out, and we're sending each other ratings of the mince pies on the family WhatsApp. Yeah, right now, I think the winner is the Nero individual mince pie.
Oh, really?
But I think we should have a separate category for like boxes of 6 or like the individuals, because an individual's always going to win.
It's not very fair, is it?
Costs the same amount as a box. And as a fudge lady, that's not a pejorative. That's have you developed a mince pie fudge?
I've developed a Christmas citrus fudge.
Right.
Christmas citrus, where I put cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, and Valencian orange into it.
Wow.
Yeah, and I mix that in with a little bit of peel, and it's very Christmassy, and you kind of eat it and you go, oh, that is Christmas. And that's what it does.
Amazing. Andrew, are you a Christmas man?
Every single day of the year, I love Christmas. But we're also half American in my family, so we celebrate Thanksgiving first.
Right.
Which you have to do. Thank you. Yes! The fudge lady in the corner. So what happens is you have turkey. You're not allowed to have a single bit of Christmas until you've done that bit, which happened last Thursday, which we love. But what I love is the way that other countries basically appropriate our Christmas. And there's a wonderful legend in Japan of what they did. They had a Father Christmas, and they nailed him to a cross. That is the point, really.
You don't want to get rid of Christmas and Easter and have no more fun at all for the rest of the year.
That's going to upset a lot of children.
Thank you. Coming to a movie near you soon.
That's amazing.
It's gonna be good.
And have you ever, I mean, as somebody whose family's half American, have you ever deep fried a turkey? I mean, that is something they do in America, which as a Scot, I'm very interested in.
took it over and they tried to make that the Christmas dish in Japan.
Right.
So they're trying to sort of hijack that. But yes, we've done all sorts of wonderful turkeys, which you do in shrouds and stuff like that. So we tend to veer away from the fowl at Christmas time. We like to have a bit of roast beef or something like that.
Oh, yeah, beef. We have beef. Not a rib of beef, a really nice round.
Duck or goose, because the goose fat makes the best roast potatoes ever.
And it's great for fudge as well. Anyway, coming up at 9, we've got the great Mark Dolan. Evening, Mark. What have you got for us this evening?
Leo, stop right there. Let me congratulate you on a fantastic first show. We've all been chuckling outside in the office. Congratulations. My Saturday nights are sorted now for entertainment. Well, we've got a very busy 9 till 11. In my big opinion, should cyclists be obliged to have number plates and insurance? And in my take at 10, the BBC is predicted to cost £200 a year within 5 years. Is that value for money? I'll be giving my unapologetic verdict. That's my take at 10. We're live at 9.
£200 a year? I'm so glad I've cancelled my licence fee. That's insanity.
Can you do that?
Yeah, it is indeed. It's not nearly as good as GB News, which costs you nothing.
Unless you sign up to the membership programme, which would make an excellent Christmas present. Anyway, thanks so much for watching the first ever episode of the Saturday Night Showdown. Thanks to my panel, Diane Spencer, Nichi Hodgson and Andrew Eborn. Have you had a good time on the show?
Best time ever. Definitely.
Will you come back on?
Yeah.
Great. Anyway, have a great night. See you next Saturday.